My guest today is Vanessa Sweeney. Vanessa is well known in Dublin as the inspirational violin teacher, and although she allegedly retired a couple of years ago, I happen to know that she's still working with children and music. Now, I wanted to talk to Vanessa to ask her about her experiences being a member of the Friends of the Irish Chamber Orchestra. So, hello Vanessa, how are you today?
Hello Matt, lovely to talk to you. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you very much.
Great.
Now, before we talk about the ICO, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your teaching. Now, what is it that you most enjoy about teaching music to children that's really kept you doing it?
Wow, what a question. It's an interesting. To me, it was the perfect job when I started off because I was always mad about children. I thought teaching was fascinating, the idea of teaching, and then yes, music was certainly the passion in my life as well. So teaching music to children seemed to be a most incredibly lucky possibility as a career, which kind of evolved gradually. And I think what I love about it is that it's always a challenge, and no two students are ever the same. And so then because students come and then they go through and then they leave, and then you've got some more little munchkins coming in at the bottom, and you think, aha, I'm going to get it right this time. And every time it's a challenge. I also know that it's really important really not to give up on kids, because kids flourish at different times, and some of them I'll teach anybody who wants to learn. I'm not teaching young professionals. If I've got somebody in that category, I tend to pass them on to somebody who will do that. But what I'm really fascinated about is just opening the doors of possibilities for children so they can get involved with music and find out how to express themselves through music.
Now, I think I remember the first time we met was in Heidelberg. The orchestra were there, and I think you were on a friends trip, an ICO friends trip, and without giving away too many backstage secrets, what can you remember about coming along on tour with us?
Well, there was a fantastic feeling. I think I felt a bit like a footballer. You know the way footballers follow their teams? Well, it's seldom that musicians get a chance to follow their team. And it was the most gorgeous thing that we had, this wonderful organisation that had this possibility that we were able to go and follow our favourite team of musicians and be part of their experience in Heidelberg. And of course, Heidelberg, wow, what a beautiful place to go anyway. We had a wonderful time there. The concerts were fabulous. If I remember, you did the Mendelssohn Reformation Symphony, which was something quite extraordinary, and I'll never forget it. And also, I think it's the first time I heard his version of the Mendelssohn Clarinet Sonata slow movement that he arranged for strings and Celeste. Is it Celeste with it as well?
That's right. That's right.
And that just really appealed to me at the time. It was magical. It was fantastic. And of course, the venue was wonderful. The audience, which were not just us, they were ordinary German people, and they were as enthusiastic as the friends of the orchestra. And it was wonderful to see the ICO on that European stage, and we were so proud of you all that night. Absolutely.
I've got a really specific memory of it, actually, because as I say, I think it was the first time that I'd met you. But I remember we were it was really beautiful weather, and we were just chatting before the concert. And you were telling me that you'd been to there'd been some talks or something that you'd been to, as well as coming to the concert.
That's right. Hugh Maguire, he did some talk about the history and the art in and around Heidelberg. It was a lovely little addition now to the whole musical side of things. It was brilliant, and it was really fun to be part of this ICO family. And it was the first time I became an official friend, because I'd always been, of course, a huge follower because of my daughter Nikki, who plays in the orchestra. But it was lovely to be feeling this time I wasn't just supporting her, but I'm now supporting the whole orchestra, because it is an extraordinary family.
Now, I know you come to a lot of our concerts, but you mentioned that the Heidelberg thing was your first sort of official thing, being a friend of the orchestra. But what is it about being a friend of the orchestra that makes a difference to attending the concerts?
I think it is just that feeling that you're really supporting the whole group of this. It is an extraordinary collection of musicians. They are quite outstanding, and yeah, it's just feeling even more part of it than I ever was before. And of course, I've made friends through the organisation, and of course, they have organised some gorgeous little dinners and things, and little events. Now, COVID has come in the middle of it all now, but we're thinking of post-COVID, and I can't wait for the next tour we're going to go on.
I bet. Neither can I.
I mean, isn't it always fun to get on a bus trip? Ever since you were a kid and you went on a school bus trip somewhere, we don't lose that when we get older, Absolutely.
Not. Absolutely. Now, something that we've tried as members of the orchestra, something that we've tried to do is really talk to our friends, the members of the Friends, before concerts, sometimes at the interval, and not having audiences and not having people with us in our concerts, everything being online. I know that everybody's really missed that interaction that we have, and we're all really looking forward to being able to chat to you all again and find out what you've been up to and all of that. But what I want to know is, what are you looking forward to the next concert that you come to?
Oh, I'm just looking forward to sitting in a concert, in a live concert, because I have to confess I didn't engage an awful lot with online concerts. I found that just hard to do. I did a few, and I enjoyed them to a point, but you can't immerse yourself. There is nothing like the live concert where it's a two-way exchange, and you can feel the power of the audience enthusing the performance almost as much as it goes the other way around. It's absolutely a game of tennis. And online concerts, I just cannot find myself in that place. And whereas I feel I can levitate at a concert. And I tell you, the last ICA concert I went to was the one that you magically were able to do last summer in Kilkenny, in the design centre, and that was so emotional. I think everybody was crying. The audience were crying, and the orchestra were crying, and it was just like our first step out of the horrors of COVID at that time, until it became sort of more kind of normal to live with COVID,
Yeah, absolutely. Vanessa.
Thanks very much, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for dropping in, having a chat with me today. And of course, thank you for all your support of the ICO and all the Friends of the orchestra. And I hope you can come on tour again with us soon.
I can't wait.
Take care, Vanessa. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and I'll
Matt.
see everybody again next week.